Dan will give you guys that are here, want to talk about it, holler at us, or whatever you want to do. We'll give you the opportunity to do this, and then I'll turn you over to Tom. So if you do have something to say, please raise your hand and give us your name and address, and we want to hear from you. Anybody with any questions? Are you mad that we kept the levy the same? Yes, sir. Can you name and address?
Yeah, my name is Tom Upton. I live in Minneapolis.
Can you spell? Sorry, I didn't catch that. Tom.
Upton, U-P-T-O-N.
Okay.
So anyway, since everybody's pointing to me to start, I guess I will. Now, I am here to just give a little opposition to any property tax increase. And I understand there is inflation. That's the reason given here. That really is a mixed bag because inflation affects everyone, and I'm on a fixed income. So that means that my income isn't really going up, but I have to deal with all the expenses around me, as everyone else does. We go to different food stores and stuff, and we have to pay for extra stuff. So again, we're already burdened with many taxes, and taxes added to increase that burden. And my money tree is already starting to get a little bit more sparse. So I just would hope that we consider that as my statement, and I'm just going to say I'm opposed to any increases.
And just in case anybody, I'm coming from a sore throat, so I'm just getting over that, but I'm good to go. I've got Ricola. But there is no property tax increase. I just want everybody to know that there has been no increase for this year. So we stand with you. We know that it's getting tough for Des Moines County. We feel the same way. Thank you, Thomas. Yes, ma'am.
Excuse me, I want you to clarify that. I'm Linda Davis, and I'm from Burlington. You said there is no property tax increase, is that at this point, and when would there be a property tax increase, if there would be a set property tax increase?
Thomas, you want to address her on that?
Each budget is set at the beginning of the year. Fiscal year runs through July 1st. This year it'll be for fiscal 26. It'll be July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, or June 30th of 2026. And it's this time of year, the early year and through March and April, that we set the property tax. That's when we see what the assessed value is going to be. We've received budgets from the various departments. We've had budget hearings with each of those departments, and we try to match that up. We've worked over the years keeping property tax, keeping downward pressure on the levy, and we've done that. So I don't know, right now the legislature is in the process, we think, of changing the property tax law. There was a lot of talk, I believe it was 2 years ago, they passed House File 718 that changed the way property taxes, the cities and the counties and schools approach property taxes. So they're changing that, so we're not sure what it's gonna look at it. It is not our intention, it's never been our intention to increase the burden on taxpayers.
I have kind of a follow-up, if that's okay.
Sure.
As I understand it, the Board of Supervisors was opposed to the recent vote that the citizens of Burlington took, and Des Moines County people took, on the assessment tax. Is that correct?
We never made a statement as a board.
Do you mean the franchise fee?
Franchise fee, I'm sorry, I misspoke.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay, yeah.
is that correct?
I can't speak for the board, I was against it.
Okay, as a board, if a board were to, anyway, if the board were to say they were opposed to that, I'm gonna kind of blanket that, that tax would have been less intrusive on citizens of our county than this proposed, whenever this takes effect, maybe in June or July, as I understand you're saying your fiscal year, that tax would have been less invasive to citizens than this tax. So if that's correct, is that correct?
The franchise fee is in the eye of the beholder.
Pardon me?
The franchise fee is in the eye of the beholder. It was gonna
Well, then
cost the
explain it
county
to
about
me.
$150,000 in revenues, lost revenues, and increased expenses.
150,000, is that what
About
you said?
150,000.
And where would that money come from?
We would write, do you know how local option sales tax works?
Explain it.
Okay.
briefly.
What?
Because I don't
There's
think-
a 1% tax each county. So Des Moines County has a 1% tax on, sales tax, which is added when you buy a new pair of shoes.
Yes,
when
I
you-
understand it, yes.
Anyway.
Yes,
So, the way that's divided is all that local option sales tax goes in a pot, a silo.
yes,
Anyway, and then there's a formula from the state
yes,
that says, okay, the county will get so much percent, this city will get so much percent, another city, it goes through from Des Moines County, Burlington, West Burlington, Minneapolis, Danville, Middletown. It's primarily, I believe, on population, but it's not limited to population. I cannot tell you exactly how they base that. But anyway, everybody gets that percent of that, pot of money.
which isn't
If
very
you-
big.
What?
Which is not very big, the pot. Or is
Well,
it? How big is
I'm-
that pot? I mean.
$8-10 million, Chad, something like
All
that,
right,
10 million. I believe the county's total, would be somewhere around $2 million.
Okay,
So, and we get, I'm gonna say about a fourth of it, maybe a little over a fourth of it, 26%. I don't remember exactly what it is. So, what it would do is it would take that 1% local option sales tax that's already imposed on the gas and electric utilities
Right.
in the city of Burlington's, in the Burlington city limit. Correct me if I'm wrong, Chad. In this, from the, that's collected in the Burlington city limits. It would remove that from that local option sales tax pot.
okay.
And then it would go into, directly to the city of Burlington, and it would have been 3% was what the proposal was. So, but when they take that amount of money out of that pot, that would cost us, I don't know, $140,000 maybe. And then the other one is the counties, churches, nonprofits, all those would have to pay that.
Well,
So anyway,
based
so
on
we
the
would have to
utility
pay,
usage?
so, yeah,
Yeah.
we would have to pay that 3% fee, and the county's utility bills for a year in the city of Burlington are over $200,000. So we would have had to pay the franchise fee on that, and we don't pay the 1% now. So that would have been 3% of whatever that number is. If it's actually $200,000, it would be about $6,000.
So, the fact that it did not pass
Mhm.
has affected the city budget a great deal.
Mhm.
Because now they are handicapped with making their budget
Mhm.
for the ensuing year,
Mhm.
which seems like it's penalizing. They're gonna have to make more cuts, like our police department, for instance, is down 8 to 10 officers as June rolls around due to retirement. How can we attract people to apply to become a police officer if we don't have more money?
You're asking me what
No,
I
I
would
guess
do with the city budget. I was personally against it. The board did not have a vote on whether we approved it or whether we endorsed it or did not endorse it. That was my private view, and I'm a city of Burlington.
I
I'm a
understand.
citizen of Burlington, so that's my private view.
Sure.
And
I understand
with
that.
all due respect, I think people are here to talk about the
Okay, but I'm
county's
just-
property taxes, so I'm just.
I'm just trying to evaluate those two issues, like, it seems like what was done would have been less harmful to the citizens of Burlington than the proposed, that's my point, than the proposed.
Unless the county would have had to raise property taxes.
We're not raising taxes, their taxes are remaining the same, we haven't raised them. So these are.
For now.
Well, yeah, but that has nothing to do
We
with
have,
the
we haven't for
franchise fee.
15 or 16 years.
Yeah, that's a city issue again.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, I do wanna reiterate, as a board, we never said publicly at all, we never made a stand saying that.
Well, that's good to
you
know.
Or
That's good to
encouraged
know.
anybody, or, put up, telling people to put up signs, that was a city of Burlington deal, so that's something that, I think that if they have to do something again, maybe you get more vocal down city council meeting, but
That's
I
good to
appreciate what
know.
you have to say,
Good
though.
know. Thank you.
Maybe the county attorney could have a seat.
Anybody, Gene,
Okay.
give us your name and address, please.
Greg Mangold, who lived at 22 16 Seneca Street in Burlington. And
What's that number?
2216 Seneca, Seneca. Just to begin where we left off last year, I handed out a chart, and so.
Got another chart this year?
Another chart this year.
Come on with the chart. And we don't get a crowd like this very often, so if you got something on your heart, go ahead and get it out. Let the big dog eat.
Trying to refocus onto the actual county property tax levy in dollars. So what I have presented before you is a chart that shows, in the orange columns is the actual dollar levy, and it shows it going down from, based on the mailer that was sent out, the actual total dollar levy. As you mentioned, and this is for the urban levy. I did not include the unincorporated levy, just focused on the urban levy. So my request last year was this time to just try to tamp down that line of increase. And that has happened because the total dollar levy, and based on the form, in terms of dollars, has in fact decreased. The rate, property tax rate has stayed the same, but has decreased. Now, when it comes to on the same form on the backside, not on the chart, so I'm referring now to the mailer that came out. And the one that gets all the interest primarily is the increase on a residential property. And there's been some discussion about the $100,000 valuation versus the $110,000 valuation. Using the $100,000 valuation to compare apples to apples from one year to the next and ringing out that $110,000. After you put that total number through the machinery of the property tax black box, if you will, there is an increase for the residential property owner, but not as much that's on the form. So just wanted to put things somewhat in context. Now, that may have muddied the waters, because I'm dealing with actual dollars levied primarily on the chart. And the rates there, but it's actual dollars levied. So getting back to the chart, that, or not the chart, but the hearing notice, I think it's a typo, but it says if an increase in the amount of the levy, it's the mailer, Tom?
This thing mine?
Yes. It says inflation, but I don't think that's applicable because there was not an increase in terms of the dollar.
The reason it says inflation is because the state says you have to put something in there.
Oh.
That's an example.
This, yeah, you have,
It will
you
not
have.
let you close out the software without putting the
Oh,
line in there.
well, that's, okay, all right.
You're
All right.
right, there is a flaw in the system.
But then there somewhat begs the question that I had of, assuming that the demands for the property tax to fund the proposed fiscal year, the upcoming fiscal year, the 25 and 26, or at least the expenditures, the proposed expenditures are going to be higher than the current year, because you had adjustments to cost of living that has to be paid for. Is how to reconcile those two things? That likely your proposed departmental expenditures have increased, but yet the dollars that you're going to have has decreased. Question is that tapping into fund balance a bit, or reducing fund balance?
No, and I've talked on the phone several times. You might remember that a couple years previous, the tax review, the Southeast Iowa Medical Center contested their assessment. So and I don't remember what they were, might have been assessment, it went up from like $20 million to $50 million, to pull numbers out of the air. So they contested that and said they were a nonprofit and they didn't have to pay taxes. So, throw my editorial on it, I think when they went to the board of review to contest that, well, their board of review is composed of people that are well-versed in real estate. They can tell you what your farm's worth, what your house is worth, something like that. So if they have this question in their lap, said, this is a nonprofit, well, that's a legal question. So in the end, I think they just threw their hands up and said it's all taxable. So they said the whole, it's like $205 million. The whole thing goes on the tax rolls. So when we had a good sense that we weren't gonna collect that, but it's on the Department of Management website, and the numbers you've got come from there. The Department of Management said this is what Des Moines County's assessed value or taxable value is. This is what they're gonna collect with their levy. Well, then that went on for a couple of years. And so when we would budget, we would not use that money. It said it was gonna come in, it didn't come in. There was an agreement with the courts that the hospital didn't have to pay that until it was decided. Well, 6 months ago, whatever it was, 6 or 7 months ago, they came out and said the hospital's non-taxable except for a couple small pieces of it. So we were right, we didn't get that money. But that money was on the Department of Management website last year, and it shows that we collected that money. This year, they took it off, so it shows we didn't collect that money. So actually, I think it showed that our taxable value went down 6 or 7%, I don't remember. And actually, if you looked at it from the point of view of the money that was actually usable last year, that we thought we were gonna get, it's grown a little bit since then, a little over 2%. That's where those numbers come from, is that once the Board of Review said that's part of your taxable value, the state puts that on their website and said, this is what Des Moines County is collecting, and we did not collect that.
So, this is, and maybe it's a philosophy different of approaching budgets. In a proposed budget, which would be a comprehensive document that outlines in a financial manner the goals and objectives of the organization for a year, is the dollars that, with that reduction, driven by the fact the dollars actually coming in shows a reduction, is that sufficient for you to operate and balance your operation for the forthcoming year without dipping into fund balance?
Yes.
Okay.
We're fine. We show a fairly low ending balance in a couple of those funds, but it always comes in, or usually comes in higher, and we take that into account. Revenues come in, we get grants, that sort of thing. Expenses are a little less, so it'll turn out better. But we have adequate fund balances, and we are not spending fund balance.
Do you have a policy on use of fund balance? It's like maybe to ensure that you have enough to operate while you're fine?
We do. We look at it and say, this is what we estimate our ending fund balance in this account will be. We have more than a little experience with each one of those accounts. If we do have a fund balance, we need to, this is
a little warm.
Oh, I thought you had something.
No,
Anyway,
no.
so, but yes, we would not approve a budget if we were not comfortable with the fund balances, with the ending balances.
I just
But
wanna
is there a
reiter-
policy?
A written policy about how to use fund, no, not that I'm aware of.
I mean, because the board changes.
The board
I'm
changes.
sorry, I'm Martha Wolf.
Go ahead.
206 North Fourth in Burlington. And I mean, just to back up, the board changes, so if you're going to maintain a fund balance, then you should have a policy so that the rest of the, new board members would know, this is the policy, we're always going to have this fund, this percent of fund balance or this dollar amount of fund balance. Would you not agree? That the three of you have agreed, this is what we're gonna do.
No board of supervisors can tie the hands of a future board of supervisors. We could come up with any policy we wanted like that, and the next board of supervisors that sits here can change it.
Well, fine, but don't you think
We
y'all
have,
should have one?
we,
So that they have
we
to
look at it,
consider?
we look at it and we see what the ending balances are gonna be. Are we comfortable with that? We need to make budgets that work. We are not gonna spend it down and say all of a sudden we're broke. We look ahead, we know how this budget, have a pretty good idea what it will look like 12 months from now.
And so
We've
what
got
is
enough
the
so
fund balance that you're comfortable with?
We'd like to have 15%.
Pardon?
We'd like to have 15%. Right now, when we make our initial budget, some fund balances will be a little under that, some will be a little over that. But depending on the fund and its income, the reliability and of its incomes and expenses, you know, sometimes there's funds that don't have any extra revenues because things don't come in addressed. I mean, to that particular general basic, that collects a lot of revenues. It collects not only property taxes, it'll collect fees, interest, grants, any number of things. Whereas general supplemental, it's pretty much only gonna collect the proceeds from property tax or the proceeds from a line of credit.
Okay. I'm concerned, you know, I read, and I admire you, and thank you for watching over our money. But I guess I'm concerned that sometimes we're comparing apples to oranges. You know, I read your minutes and sometimes follow on your stream, but it's like your minutes are no discussion. Everything the three of you are unanimous on, there's never a discussion. A department head comes in and says, we're really busy. And then the next one comes in and we're like, we're busier than usual. I mean, is there no discussion that y'all have on any policies or actions that maybe deserve some conversation? Or is it all taking place at your work sessions? Is that where the public should be going, is to the work sessions?
They'll say, we have conversations and discussions on everything, but when it's time to vote, unless there's anything else that needs to be said, we just vote it out.
We get emails ahead of time, so we've seen that packet. We've all read the minutes. We've, if we see, at least if I do, I assume the other board members do the same. If I see a mistake where something wasn't included or something was wrong, I will contact the auditor and said, you might want to check, that's wrong. And typically they correct that. But we've already had those things. They mail out a packet to us, typically Friday, sometimes Thursday, so we can see what's coming up. And a lot of stuff is just boilerplate. You know, you've got 3 people with personnel actions, one of them's retiring.
Oh, yeah, I get that
Anyway,
part.
you get
Yeah,
that. So
no,
when
I
we
get
actually
that
have
part.
policies,
I
like,
mean-
when we've had ordinances, we had an animal control ordinance, you know, a few years ago. We've done wind and solar public hearings that are extensive and attended with long, drawn-out conversations that will go on over multiple multiple work sessions and public hearings.
Right, public hearings where people are asking you questions.
People can ask us questions during any meeting. We don't limit.
Right, no, and that's what I'm saying,
Yeah.
that, you know, I guess in keeping the budget right where you want it, I think there needs to be some forward thinking. I can't imagine that over the last 10 years, some departments are seeing less FaceTime from customers and people are doing more business online. So maybe that staff, you know, figures out a different way to do things. I was, you know, you are Tom Broker. So when you speak, people see you as the Board of Supervisors. So when you said, I'm against the franchise tax, people see you as the Board of Supervisors. And I think if you look at what you're getting from the library you're getting a really good deal for your county residents. I mean, you're paying a little tiny portion compared to what the city's residents are paying for that same library service. So maybe you say, hey, in next year's budget, and I realize it's a 10-year degree thing that you've signed with the city, but maybe on your own you say, hey, you know, maybe this is the time for us to step up for our county residents that are being supported by the city residents. I just, you know, I just believe y'all need to look at the future. You know, you're doing no strategic planning of what would we like to see in this county in 5 years. I mean, I know you're not big into watching over the swine development in Des Moines County. You could care less. You don't want to adopt a policy to make sure that we at least have one line of defense of you're not going to move a hog confinement into Des Moines County. But wind and solar and water, you know, these are issues for today, and that's a lot of reason why people are here today. Think about it.
I just wanna address one thing. I feel like, we do try to do a lot of forward thinking. I think an example of that is when it came down to the Great River dollars. We didn't touch any of that, even though, it could have turned out either way, but we said there's no guarantee of that. The forward thinking on that was, we're not touching a dime of that money until we find out what the heck is going on. That's why some people said, you've got all this money and you're still taxing this way. So I do to think we'd use, forward thinking. Somebody gave me a message and said, how come you guys aren't arguing in meetings? I said, I didn't run so that I could argue with people. That's not the point of that. I said, I want to keep the party going. You know what I'm saying? I mean, redundancy, that costs taxpayers money. When we're dragging things down, that costs taxpayers money. We want to get things done. Now, we have conversations, and even in work sessions, we have disagreements, but I'm not going to holler. I'm not going to say, doggone it, Tom. That's not how I work, and people know that. I didn't do that when I was down at city business. I talk to people and treat people the way I want to be treated. But I did have somebody say, I just feel like there should be more arguing down at the meetings. Well, you can watch the work sessions, we don't agree on everything. Everything's not in lockstep, and even when we voted, there's times that there's been votes that somebody said, no, I can't get down with this. And it's fine. It's, you know, we're all just trying to make the best decisions that we can. I just want to make sure I say that. Then you say, well, you know, no, we're not worried about hog confinements. Well, we're worried about everything that comes to Des Moines County. There's a lot of people that think that we have the most stringent rules for air, and it is what it is. I'm just telling you, because we set a standard that was so high, we didn't want to encourage anybody to just blow through here and put up what they wanted to. That's why Fort Madison is looking at what we did, how we set up our standard, because they had to change and adapt some of their things to what we did, because I didn't want anybody to blow through Lee County. So with all due respect, Martha, you know, you're my good buddy, and I care about you. But no, that's not fair.
I don't care if you care about me. I want.
Well, I mean, that's fine. That's fine. You don't
I
have to
want
care
us
about me. I'm
be
just
the
telling you.
best that we can be, and y'all aren't leading
And
us.
I feel I disagree with you on that, but I appreciate what you have to say.
Thank you.
Anybody else have a question? Anybody else feel like we're not doing it right? You're more than welcome to say so, but we haven't raised the levy. I feel like we have work sessions. Everybody is welcome to see those and look at them. Yeah, again, I'm going to do the very best I can. I feel like the board is a board. We try to do the best that we can. I can't speak for Jimmy. He's sick. He swore something down that I got him sick. I don't believe that I did. But anyways, yeah, that's where it's at. If there's anybody else here that has something to say, you're more than welcome to. I don't want to shut anybody down.
I'll have a comment. Chad Berg, 2716 Clearview Drive, Burlington. I just want to thank the county board of supervisors for holding your levy rate constant. I know that's hard in a time when expenses are increasing. What that tells me by keeping your levy rate the same is that you're absorbing those cost increase for equipment, wages, commodities. Nothing's getting cheaper, that you're absorbing those off of any valuation increase that you might have seen. And I would guess that you've seen a valuation increase of 2.5% to 3% last year, or even down less. Yeah, it was less. Well, that doesn't even keep costs pace.
Last year?
Yeah. Well, for fiscal
Yeah,
26.
About 2.25, I think.
2.25. That doesn't even keep pace with the cost of inflation. Cost of inflation this year is about 2.7. So I applaud you for holding the line on levies. I know your costs are increasing, wages, commodities, vehicles, as I mentioned. And for me personally, what that looks like, I know a lot of residents have seen assessment increases. My assessment last year for this current year went up over $15,000, but my taxable value went down $11,000. I'm paying $434 a year less this year than last year, right? And that's due in large part to this thing we don't understand called the rollback, right? So, I know that tax notification letter that went out didn't do anybody any great favors because it's complicated and it's confusing. It also assumed a 10% increase in valuations, and clearly, that's not what's happening, right? But that's defined in state code. That's the way the state mandated we send those letters out. We appreciate that. But I just wanted to thank you for holding the line, keeping taxes in check, and to know that for me personally, my combined taxes, that's city, county, and school, went down $434. So I appreciate the work you're doing, trying to stretch it out. So, thank you.
Hey, that's reciprocated. We think, we appreciate the hard work that Burlington City Council and your leadership has been doing. Keep doing what you're doing. We all sink or swim together, friends, so, we're on the same team. Is there, did I get you? Yeah, I did. Is there anybody else? Yes, sir. Hey, your name and address, please?
Kevin Cox.
Can you spell your last name for me?
First name is Cevin. COX.
Address, please?
2101 Agency Street.
What's on your mind, Mr. Cox?
Basically the budget, raising taxes, in my personal opinions, borderline theft to a point. Especially when my wife and I, we have 5 kids, we teach them very much to be entrepreneur, work hard. And my daughter has a sunflower business, and she was selling her sunflowers, so I took her.
How old's your daughter with the sunflowers?
She started when she was 8, she's 12 now. So the first year we took like 10% from her. We're like, we're saving that for her, and she was like, that's a lot of money. I'm like, well, that's, we're gonna invest that for you, it's gonna be held. And then last year we took 33% from her, and she was like, that's astronomical, why? I'm like, well, you're using my property, you're using my, so this year she's like, how much are you taking from me? I'm like, maybe 40%. She's like, how does this work, that you continue to take more? And I was telling her that's kind of like the government, like if you budget poorly and you need more money, it's gotta come from somewhere. So she wants to work harder, set up another place. She wants to make more money, she wants to work harder. So we're kind of teaching her that. So her little sister's 6, and we were kind of giving her the lemonade stand. It's like, hey, you have a $100 budget to set up your lemonade stand, what are you gonna do? She's gonna paint, she's gonna get a billboard, she's gonna get signage. She had all these grand ideas, like, oh, well, your budget's only 10. I guess I'm gonna get a piece of cardboard box and a Sharpie and what I can do. So we're teaching them to budget within the money that they have. So that's just what I want like if you guys need $2 million, we had the school board meeting yesterday. Can the school board cut $1 million and ask for $1 million from us? Like can we meet halfway? But it's pretty easy when you're like, how much do I get, Dad? $100. Well, I'm gonna spend $100 on my lemonade stand. How much you get next year, Dad? Well, budget went up to 120. I'm gonna spend 120. It's like you're just spending the money that you budget for instead of budgeting, what's right. So, we just paid our house off for it. Like we're gonna be set. We got 5 kids. We're trying to do stuff right. And it's like they're taking some more of my hard-earned money. I didn't get a raise. I don't have more money income, but it seems like more and more money is being taken from me. It's like it's getting harder and harder and harder. In fact, the house that we bought when we first moved here about 7 years ago, some of the houses we wanted to buy, we couldn't buy because property taxes were so high. And we were like, we couldn't even afford to buy that house because we couldn't afford the property tax. So it limited to the place that we picked to live. And it's like now the place that we're living, the property taxes are constantly going up, and it's like, we're getting priced out of our house. It's hard, especially people on fixed budgets. And I just think that's something that we're teaching our kids is how to budget the money that you have. And only in government can you go, oh, we need some more money, let's take it from the people, because that's where it comes from. And I just think when it comes to stuff like property tax, it should be open to the public to vote for it. And if we're like, hey, we can't go to Starbucks this week, kids, and we're going to Salvation Army, we're not getting new Nike shoes, and that's stuff we've done with our 5 kids for years, and we've budgeted the money that we've made. And sometimes there's cuts and it hurts, but I think it's up to the people to vote for that and go, hey, we're okay without having whatever's on the board.
I appreciate what you have to say. I'm gonna talk, I know you got something to say, Thomas, all the time. But I just want to let everybody know that for your taxes, the lion's share that comes out of your taxes goes to the school board. I want to say that first and foremost, and you can look that up. If you check our past history, I know since I've been on the board and even before, because I thought they did fantastic work, I can't say anything negative about that. You can see when people aren't doing their job on their levy, because you'll see the roller coaster or the teeter-totter effect. Well, we've been steady Eddie. You can check our numbers, and they've had pressure. It's even gone down. So when we were thinking of with House File 718, they were saying, well, your levy's gotta be down to a certain level at a certain time. There's a lot of communities that were freaked out. Well, we were in a position that we were ready to take that on, and it wasn't anything that was going to have a foot on our neck, because we were being responsible with the dollars. Even before every budget season, we have our pre-budget meeting, what is that called? Our pre-budget meeting down in Stars Cave.
Budget kickoff.
Budget kickoff. And the message that is always reiterated from the Board of Supervisors is that we want realistic budgets. We don't want any fluff, no what if, give us only what you need, and then you can always do a budget amendment if you need to get something later on. And I want to thank the staff for that too. I think they've been very responsible since I've been on the board. We've never had to say, hey, what is this? Because you can always, when you're looking at a budget, you can look for anomalies. There are things that stand out and they get your attention because, you can tell the differences from the year before. I'll turn it over to Tom. If you've got anything you want to add to what he said, I just want to throw that out there.
I agree with you about the budgeting. I've been here for 15 years, or 14 and a half, whatever. Anyway, we have a different process for budgeting now than they used to. The department heads used to turn in their budget requests, and that was it. We've got a budget kickoff now, and we'll talk and say what we need to do, what's acceptable, what isn't. Over the years, almost every department in the county has fewer people. We didn't come in and just say get rid of people, but through attrition, there were people that retired, weren't replaced. We've done very well. Our levy, when I got here, was $875, now it's $681. So, and it's been the same for the last 3 or 4 years. It'll be the same this year, or it is the same this year. And, but no, I couldn't agree with you more. It's not our money, it's your money. I agree with that. And, we aren't afraid to say no, and we do. But I appreciate your thoughts.
Where are you from, Kevin?
My dad was military for 30 years, so I grew up half my life in Europe, part of the California and Utah now.
Okay. Well, wherever you come from, we're glad you're in Moines County. We appreciate citizens like you. You're raising your kids right, so thanks for coming down, and your wife. You satisfied?
The last thing I'll say is, one last thing.
Good.
Budgets are really funny because when my wife and I both work and we had 2 little kids who live in California, we had a tight budget. We had a really tight budget. Then the 3rd kid came, we were like, this budget's really, really tight. And we were making it, and we were struggling, but it was good. And then I lost my job in 2007, the economy crashed. And we still survived for 2 years, and the budget was even tighter. I'm like, man, that first budget was really foolish. And that second budget, there was quite a bit of waste in that second budget. And third budget's like, oh, this is what we could have maintained. We could have done that the first time we wrote the budget, but even just a simple person running my own household, I had some foolish things in my budget that at the time, we were like, man, we're cutting this close. Like, we can only go out to eat, 3 times a week. We can, whatever it was. And somebody else looking into it's like, yeah, I understand you cut some people and there's retirement, but you open it up to the public for some discrepancy, transparency. You're kind of like, you're going to Starbucks every single day, whatever it is, it's like, that looks like a lot of waste to some other people. So budgets are usually, what's the word I'm looking for? Subjective to what you're doing with that money.
Absolutely. We are at the roads department, Brian Carter, he's our county engineer. We buy a new road grader, and I can't remember how many years, but they don't have a long shelf life, so eventually we've got to replace it with new motor graders. This year was it this year?
Last year.
Last year. Anyways, he came to us and he said, hey, I don't know if we can afford this expense. He said, I've been doing some investigating, and there's a place down in, where's that at, Brian?
Hannibal.
Down in Hannibal. He said, so he took us on a trip. We went down there and checked the place out, did some inquiry, and so we had our last 2 motor graders. We went and checked them out. I think I put some pictures up on my page, but we had them refurbished, and we saved quite a bit of money just doing that. So no, we're always looking at those things and say, how can we cut money? How can we save? And unless it's just blasting in your face, which we have meetings and stuff, but I mean, there's 19 views right now, so I mean, I can't make people get on and watch me, and I know that they're probably really higher until I got on the board. I'm sorry, I can't do anything about this. But no, we're always looking for areas like that. I totally agree with you. But no, that's a small view. But no, we're always in every in every department, we're looking to see how can we save money, how can we do better for next year, so we always like to look at those things. Appreciate that.
Every year we have a budget hearing with every department head, and we'll have a printout or on a computer. It'll list every budget item there, from the smallest to the largest, and we'll be able to see what's been spent on that budget each of the last 3 years, and we can go back further if we want, what they're asking for this year, whether they used it last year, what was budgeted, what they actually used, and we can ask a question, you know, you had $5,000 budgeted, but you only spent $2,000. Was there a reason for that, or you don't need that whole 5,000? So we go through boards of supervisors and city councils and that sort of thing, and school board. It is not possible for us to be as good as you are with your budget, but we try.
You satisfied?
We'll see.
You're more than welcome to come back down here. We're meeting every week. Is there anybody else that would like to say anything or has any questions or concerns before we shut this down?
I do have a question.
Yes, ma'am. What's your name?
I'm Nikki Cox, same address, in Burlington.
Can you spell your name for me?
Yes, it's N-I-K-I.
Yeah, Nikki.
I was just curious, so first of all, that gives me a lot of comfort just hearing you guys say your views and that you are cooperating and trying with budgets. That, we don't know a lot, we're just beginning to get involved with following these and things, and so that just gives me a lot of comfort that you're aware of that and trying, and that you're mindful of everybody's taxes and the budgets.
Yes, ma'am.
My question is, so with proposed property tax increases, is there a chance or a way to get a chance for the public to vote or have a say in any of that?
First off, I just want to remind everybody, again, we did not raise the tax
Yes,
levy.
I bring this up because we got this confusing paper that said proposed.
And
So,
that's-
so coming up in the future, and I understand I probably don't have the ins and outs of that, but if that time came, would there be an opportunity for us to have a say in
We
that,
have
and how
public,
would we do that?
we have public hearings. The hearings are public, that process, yeah, people are, you can have, Greg's been down here several times, been in his 2 cents and whatnot, that's how I know the guy.
Okay.
So, no, they're all public, it's not behind the scenes, it is all open to the public, the whole process is. So, yes, they are. As far as, do you wanna address that at all, Cheryl, with the mailer?
Well, first of all, I don't know if you are aware, but they're comparing apples to oranges, because they're assuming a 10% increase in your value.
Right.
And values did not go up 10%. So the numbers that are on here as your proposed increases are inflated.
Okay.
So that's scaring a lot of people.
Right, and I'm trying to understand that. I'm asking, again, how do we stay on top of following what you're doing? So you do these meetings,
Yeah, they're public, yeah, you can come down every day if you want to,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
We publish it when we're gonna have it, it has to be published before we even get started. There is no secret meetings going on, they're all public. So no, you're more than welcome next year, come on down, come on down.
appreciate
I'm
that.
not gonna say we're gonna have good food to serve up or anything like that, but we'll be down here and we'll answer your questions, absolutely.
Just clear your calendar for about a week and a half in January. Because this year we start on January 6th, and we end it on January 14th. We hold those public hearings here in this room, and the department head comes in and presents her budget to the board, and it is open to the public. So you're welcome to sit in, we have handouts of their budgets. You're welcome to look at the budget book, it's right here, this is all their budgets that were presented to us.
Thank you.
As far as voting on the budget, there's nothing right now that's in the code about that. You can come down during a public hearing, or actually anytime. We've got a public input at every meeting, and tell us what you like or don't like about the budget or anything. But there's no vote. I believe that's part of the bill that's proposed in the legislature now, is that if a city or a county wanted to raise taxes, they would have to go to a vote in excess of what the state said they could raise it. Is that fair? I believe that's in the proposed legislation. Whether it will be in the final legislation or if there is any final legislation is well beyond my prognostication abilities. But right now there is no way for you to vote on it.
Thank you.
Anybody else from the audience? John, I see you looking at me funny.
Well, Mayor Burlington, so I want to come to the county's defense and also the city's defense regarding this property tax assessment that we were required to send out. It was well
Hey,
intended.
I'm sorry, can you give me?
Oh, John
name?
Lewis.
Yeah.
800 North Front. You want me to spell that for you, Mr. Campbell?
How do you spell front?
Okay.
You know I'm slow. Go ahead, John.
It was well intended, right? I mean, they're trying to educate and be clear to everyone. It was just poorly executed. They threw in this proposed rate that we haven't seen in forever, and it's all it's done is confuse the issue. And I've heard from quite a few legislators that won't say publicly, but they will say, we failed, and that will change. So I think you'll see that's something that they're going to attack over the next year. And so when we send out next year, hopefully it'll be a lot more clear. Because I'll be honest with you, I got it. I couldn't figure it out. So it's not, they had to send it out, we had to be part of it, the school. It's throwing a lot of things out there that just look wrong, and they are. So I would, I'd echo Chad's statements. The county has kept their levy in line, put downward pressure on it. We have attempted to do that at the city. We did that for 7 years, up until this year. And, they're public servants. The work sessions are where a lot of stuff is debated. And then at the meetings is when you, as the public, can come in and have those debates again. So I want to thank you guys for this meeting today. We came just because we hadn't been in a while. It wasn't for anything else other than that. So thank you both, and thanks Jim too when he's back. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's good to see city come down here, and just a reminder, I need to visit you guys a little bit more too instead of, I do watch on TV though.
We'll welcome you
Yeah,
anytime.
seems like you bang the gavel a lot harder than I did when I was down there. This guy's
Never
got an
touched
attitude.
We might occasionally have food too.
I appreciate that, Mr. Bird. Anybody else have a question or concern here? We want to shut her down until everybody's satisfied. Oh, anything, Cheryl, that you get?
You got a gentleman with his hand up.
Yes, sir. Mr.
Yes.
Upton.
Yes, one more thing, just real brief. I appreciate what you're doing. I'm all the clarification on this very confusing piece of mail we all got. And I just wanted to say thank you again. You guys are doing a great job. Mr. Broker, I've met you more than once, and Shane. But we talked about tax increases. I'd like to see a mail-in coming out that says tax lowering.
Yeah.
Just keep that in mind. Thank you very much.
Good job.
Right on. Well said, friend. Well said. Anybody else with a comment? Want to make sure everybody's, yes, ma'am.
I just want to say.
That
I
is
for-
Miss Linda Davis. Stand up
Correct,
again.
I forgot to get my address, do you need that? I'm so sorry. I noticed everybody.
Yeah, I'm sorry, let that slide. Can you give me that, please?
2555 Diamond Ridge Drive. There are no diamonds.
Thank you. I had to hunt you down so I could get your address. Thank you, Mrs. Davis. Anybody else? Comment? Mr. Upton, are you satisfied?
You guys are doing a great job, I appreciate it.
We appreciate you coming down, man. We appreciate it. We're not afraid of anybody disagreeing or anything like that. We'll talk it out. We'll walk it out, we'll talk it out together. Everybody satisfied? We got nothing else? We got nothing from, you got any phone calls or anything like that?
No.
Motion to close the public hearing.
Second. Cheryl Mack?
Tom Broker,
Yes.
Shane McCampbell.
Yes. This meeting's adjourned. For those that came down for this and you want to get the heck on out of here, you're more than welcome to. We're gonna get started with our own board meeting here in just a moment. Thank you.
I'm sorry I didn't bring the.
That'd be crazy, man.
Yeah,
Yes, yeah, you did the,
Jimmy's already mad at me. Because it's
What's that?
And, you're trying to say Iowa's a great state, a great place to be in, we do get taxes local, which is good, but we all need to pull together. But there's a difference.
You guys are not I really wish you were. Or take your lap, we thought one person.
Okay, well, I'm gonna read back the site. Anyway, I'm not gonna give it one more right now.
We would have stayed in. Nice.
Thank you for coming down. Good to see you.
They're doing well.
They're still constructing.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know that we'll succeed. He is one of the key cogs that I want to be easier.
Huh?
Trying to misrepresent yourself.
Oh, I had you, hey, so that they got mad at me, they get mad at Jimmy.
Yeah, but what's your leg size? Max, right? Yeah.
It's unfortunately just based off of that document. The state created, that's not accurate. That's the unfortunate part.
Ours is Monday. Last night was just a work session. Oh, so our budget hearing is Monday, so we'll see, I'll let you know. There, all right. We're just here to say hey.
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We might need to crack that door a little bit. All right, I think I can talk louder than them. Do we have any changes to the tentative agenda?
I have none.
I have none. Joe, Matt, you good? Okay. Next, we have meet with department heads and elected officials that are gonna tell us everything's good. Let's hear about it. Let's start with, Matt, you're here first, county assessors board, my bad.
So yes, this is a bit of a confusing time of the year for taxpayers. I totally get that. We just got done paying taxes based on our 2023 valuation. Yesterday was the deadline for that. Some people were here earlier talking about the future budget based on our 2024 valuations. And then lo and behold, today and yesterday, people are receiving their 2025 assessments. So I completely understand the confusion with all these years, and conveniently, they all arrive right around April 1st. So I don't know, to add more confusion to everything, I don't know if that helps or not. But I just wanted to talk today about our 2025 assessment notices that are going out. Their letters are hitting mailboxes yesterday, today. You should be receiving them here in the next week at least. On anytime value changes, assessed values change, we have to send a letter out showing that change in value. Like I said, the 2025 value would be for taxes payable the fall of '26 and the spring of '27. So we're always working, and right now it seems like that all those three things come to head. You have the 2023 valuations that we're finally finishing up paying taxes on. The counties, cities, schools are talking about their 24 valuations and how they are gonna budget based off that 24 valuation, and then here comes our 25 assessment letter. So just to let you know that 25 assessment letter are for future taxes. A year from now, the board in the cities will be looking at that valuation from our 2025 assessments to determine what their budget amounts are. Another point I wanted to make too with our assessments, there's a reason the assessor's office is autonomous from the county, the city, the schools. A lot of people think the assessor's office is a county department. We're not. We are our own board. We don't change values or look at evaluations based on what the city or county needs for a budget. That's totally irrelevant to the way we do our job. I completely understand how people think there's a misconception that, values go up because the cities need money or the county needs money. And like I said, there's a reason why the assessors board sets a load on its own, and we don't value property based on budgetary needs for taxing entities. Real simplicity, the assessor's office, our job is to value property at fair market value. So in essence, we value property what we think the property would sell for on the open market. And that's what your assessments should reflect. I'd like to say we're 100% perfect on our assessments. I know that's not true, but it's our best effort to make everything fair and equitable and have those assessments actually represent market value. So our letters are going out in the mail right now. The month of April is an important date or important month for those assessments. It's your time frame to appeal your value. If you think that value is out of line, you don't feel like that value represents market value, the month of April is your time frame to appeal that value. The appeal process is basically filing a petition in our office, and what you'll end up doing is meeting with the Board of Review. The Board of Review is a 3-member body. It's separate from our office. It's an advocate for the taxpayer. The Board of Review doesn't answer to the assessor. They make their decisions solely based on the evidence provided at those hearings. So just let me backtrack a little bit. Yeah, the month of April is the time frame to appeal your value. If you feel like it's out of line. Then the hearings with the Board of Review are during the month of May. They're either in person or You can submit any evidence, any documentation why you feel like your property value is out of line. Provide that to them during the month of May, and then they make their decision based off of that. So, like I said, just a very confusing time where a total of 3 different years' values kind of all hit within a few weeks. And I know there is a lot of misconception of why values change. Values change because of the market changes, and we have to reflect those market changes in our assessments. So that's all I had, and if you have any questions, I'm willing to ask. I don't know if you have time for that or not.
I'm good.
So, leave it at that.
Any-
Yeah, always contact our office if you have questions. That's what I encourage too. These guys aren't in charge of what your assessed value is. If you have a problem with your assessed value, you think it's out of line, come talk to the assessor's office. We would love to answer those questions for you.
I want to reiterate that. I blame Matt for all those problems. I just want to get that out. Thanks for saying before I did.
Yep, and I would like to take the burden off of them because it's not their job. Just like their job isn't to tell me how much to raise or change market value, you know, my job isn't to push that onto them as well. So it is a good situation where the assessor is separate from these taxing entities, because like I said, I don't value property based on what budgetary needs are for the different taxing entities.
And not to just rain on Matt, no, he's got a formula that he has to work within guidelines too, so it's not like he erroneously just says, I want taxes to be this.
Yeah, well, and I know, yeah, the taxes, the value is what the value is, and it's what the market bears, so. That's our best, our effort to arrive at that number is what our assessment should reflect, so. Just wanted to bring that up. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt, I appreciate that. Jared, land use?
Just keeping busy as usual, particularly this time of year. There's been quite a bit of activity that we've talked to folks about. Permits are looking to file for building as well as subdivisions, but I did have a couple of new home construction zoning permits recently, so that's good for the tax base there for sure. Yeah, just not everything else to report.
All right. Colin, IT?
Just getting busy like always, dealing with some phone issues this morning, so that's been fun. Still kind of trying to get under the root cause for that. Seems to be some kind of carrier issue, but anyhow, I'll shoot out some more info when I get better info on that. Other than that, nothing really new to report, so.
Okay. Rodney Bleasner, maintenance.
Good morning. Just kind of finally finished up the camera project a couple of weeks ago. Appreciate IT's patience with us, switching everything over on. It's been probably a couple-year process between the different buildings, trying to get those new cameras installed. Pretty much got them all done, so we're kind of glad to check that box off the list and move on. Getting our mowers warmed up, ready for some spring weather, putting the winter stuff away. But
Don't say that too loud, Ronnie.
We don't need another blizzard.
Straighten him out, Lisa.
Yeah. Just got a lot of things going on, but other than that, really nothing new to report.
Okay. Cheryl McVeigh, budget manager?
NCOA cards are going out this week, so if you get one, there's, just contact our office and we'll tell you what you need to do to stay active, so.
Angie Vaughn, safety.
Good morning, gentlemen. Really just keeping busy. We don't have a whole lot going on right now, which is good news in my department. But just for the record, they say that everyone says that things are just normal. In my world, if things are going really well, I'm not gonna tell you that, because if I do, then all hell will break loose. So
That's a
right
different
now,
meaning, Eddie.
we're just rolling with it, so that's all I got.
Okay. Sheriff Kevin Glendenny, Sheriff's Department.
Good morning. You guys have heard me talk about it numerous times and been in meetings yourselves reference it, but we are finally at that point where we're transitioning on the emergency communications this week. So we're going live with our new radios and system and consoles. The consoles funded through the DESCOM budget through general supplemental, and then all the radios for the sheriff's office, Burlington PD, West Burlington PD funded through the 911 board, through reserve funds that we're able to purchase that. So we're excited to move forward with that. Everything is going really well so far, but there are, I'm certain, challenges and hurdles to come. it's a big transition to move from an existing UHF system over to the 7,800 megahertz system onto a new system with new electronics all through dispatch and new radios in all cars and that officers are carrying. So adjusting to those operations that the state and the ISIC system expects of us, we're just trying to make sure everybody's in line with that, and we'll adjust as needed. Been looking forward to that, and we're excited to be getting there to have the communications that we need for law enforcement countywide. The Civil Service Commission, we moved through the hiring process for our open deputy position. We are going to be giving a conditional offer, and we've checked all the boxes on that for the background and whatnot. We're set for the May Academy. So we'll be filling that spot, and we'll get that personnel action over to you here soon. Pretty excited to be moving forward with that candidate, and look forward to that. The jail was at 92 this morning, and 20 out of county. Everybody's been busy, law enforcement wise. That certainly hasn't helped the situation. That and additional and enticing cases, they stay very busy. They had another one this morning where somebody traveled down here from Davenport, and that subject was arrested this morning. So we've had to literally adjust our units out there to house more of the sex offender cases, because they do have to be housed separately by code. But with that, it does keep our community safer. It keeps them where they should be and keeps them in check. So we're happy with those results, but the results also bring us more out-of-county housing. So we're back up to 20, and a pretty high number for us. The governor is set to sign Senate File 22 tomorrow morning, which is the hands-free legislation. This has been something that we've worked on a lot. It's going to make our streets safer, our roadways safer. It will require complete hands-free operation. We're excited to see that move forward. That will be a warning only beginning July 1st until January 1st, 2026. To give everybody time to adjust. There will be some adjustments for everybody, truly. But I think in the long run, it will make our roadways safer. So we're excited to see that move forward. I think that's all I've got for now.
I've got a quick question.
Yes, sir.
Is our computer-aided dispatch, is that functional?
So the CAD, which is the previous Motorola project, it's a software program that is functional, that is operational out at DESCOM. The new system, which is actually the consoles that allow the operation for the radio frequencies, and that they're all integrated, but the consoles are actually a separate project from the previous CAD, computer-aided dispatching, and RMS, record management system project. But they will all be coupled together, and as all these projects begin to work together, it will increase efficiency, and I mean the technology that's there. It's very helpful. It's the communications that we'll have. I told you gentlemen this before, but the on-road coverage for law enforcement, the industry standard is 95%. We were in the 70s in Des Moines County. We started talking about this project years ago, but the truth is it's just taken a long time to get dollars in line and get everybody in line, all the players, to make it all come together. So we're here, and we're excited to be moving forward with it.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Satisfied?
Yep.
Okay. The attorney's office, Lisa Schaefer, Trent Hinklevick.
Yeah, I knew he wouldn't talk.
Lisa Schaefer, yeah.
We're doing good. We're obviously, as Kevin pointed out, law enforcement has been very, very busy, which of course makes our office very, very busy. And as Matt spoke, Trent will be very, very busy in the next couple of months, I'm sure, with people appealing their assessments. So we're plodding along. We do have 3 pending homicides. That's something we haven't had in a while. We had a really, really nice lull in that sort of crime, but right now we have 3 pending. 2 of them, we have assistant attorney generals from, I don't even know what they call it now, but statewide prosecutions. Nikki Leonard is helping Terry on one of them. Scott Brown is assisting me, or I'm assisting Scott on the other. And then the third one, we're just gonna handle in-house. I'm also working with the Attorney General's Office Crime Victims Assistance Division. We are hoping to work together to get a law enforcement training domestic violence workshop set up for October during Domestic Violence Awareness Week. So I've been meeting with John Gish's office, he's the Assistant Attorney General for Crime Victims Assistance, working together with him to start planning something out.
Who's it gonna be available, or is that just for staff, or is that for everyone?
It's gonna be for our office and law enforcement.
Okay.
Basically, it's gonna be doing, at this point in time, investigations, prosecutions.
Okay.
One of the things we are hoping to do, maybe not this year, but maybe April of next year, depends on people. You remember, I'm still a couple of attorneys down. But we're hoping maybe we could, one of the things I would like to do maybe during October too, sometime, is doing a domestic violence forum, which is more of a public thing, but that's something we just gotta see if we have the resources to do that. Obviously, the cost of it, we would bear through our incentive, program account, which is what we're doing the AG training with. Any costs that, are associated with that will come from that incentive account, so it won't be taxpayer dollars, it will be criminals' dollars. Hopefully, in 2 weeks, we will have good news, because we will hopefully be here to swear in a new lawyer. She will find out Friday whether she passed the bar, so we've all got our fingers crossed, and much like when she's gonna learn, when it's the most nervous you will get in a trial is when you're told there's the answer, and you just have to wait to hear it.
The insert?
Pardon?
The insert?
Verdict.
A verdict.
Oh, the verdict,
Yeah,
okay.
there's nothing worse than the 10, 15 minutes or half hour between we have a verdict and actually hearing them give it to you. That is the most nervous you'll be in any trial. So she's about to learn that. She knows it's coming on Friday. So we're very, very excited for her. So hopefully we'll be back with some good news. And then we do have a 30-year recognition on the agenda here in a few minutes.
Right on. All right, thank you. Last but not least, or maybe, but anyways, the county engineer, Brian Carter, what do you got?
I don't know how to follow any of that, so, the closures that I've talked to you about are still there. I'll say them just in case anybody's listening that hasn't heard them. North Gear, that's a bridge closure right at the moment, we're working on that. Danville Road, that's a bridge closure, we're working on that. Those will both be closed for at least another 3 to 4 months, I wanna say. The DOT has a couple of roads closed, Mediapolis Road, which is probably the biggest and most significant of all of these at the moment, because everybody's adjusting to it. If you're up in Mediapolis and you're going through any given direction near where Main Street takes off and runs through town, do everybody a favor and try to avoid it. It is a mess. They have one lane closed on Highway 61, where it's, if you've driven through town, it's a lane north, lane south, and a middle turn lane. It's down to 2 lanes. They've gotten rid of the 3rd lane at the moment. I've certainly told my daughter to avoid that area as much as possible. I would advise anybody else to also. It's a lot of traffic to pinch down to 2 lanes, and then you have the main road in Mediapolis coming through there also. So, but Mediapolis Road is closed west of Mediapolis, and that'll be closed until, I would guess, September. 260th north of Mediapolis is closed also. Anybody has questions about those, they're welcome to call. Those are both DOT roads, but we can try to answer as best we can. And the patching that's gonna be starting up on Middletown, or on Highway 34 and on Highway 99 should start up both of those roads next week. Thought they would start this week, but obviously one got pushed back. So I would guess activity on both of those roads would start next week for the patching part of the project. The milling has been nudged back at least a week, so there'll probably be a lull or a gap between the patching and then the milling, and then we'll see where the asphalt goes. So there's plenty of other stuff going on, but I won't drag this out any longer. It's just a lot of road construction going on, so try to be safe.
Okay, thank you, DC. We'll move on to correspondence. I have a anonymous correspondence that wants to bring up the audio again. It's one of the 3 people that watched the video, and they said they can't hear very well. They said they can't hear Jimmy the most, but and then when people are speaking out there, they're having a hard time hearing them. So they said, make sure you bring this up, so I said, I'll make sure I bring it up. And then I also wanna recognize, some correspondence that we get, and we'll go through all of it, that we got from, the mayor of Burlington. And he just brought up, and if you want to mention, I didn't say anything to it, but the property tax, he sent some emails out regarding the property tax that he sent to every state legislator, addressing property tax reforms and preserving home rule. And part of that, I think, he was dealing with a rollback. You want to say anything on that, or?
No, in fact, I sent those to you because I didn't send them to you, I just shared what I sent to the state, so you don't have to,
Correspondence,
you
I
don't
just
have to
want-
talk anymore
All right,
about
all
it.
right. But he did, also, he sent some emails to Case Industrial, fighting for CNH employees. So I want to make sure I bring this up because people need to know what you're doing, appreciate it. Also, the Can Redemption Center closing, he sent to Representative Rinker, Representative Collins, and Senator Reichman. He messaged them trying to save that as well, and I think there was something else, but I just wanted to make sure I recognized and acknowledged your correspondence. Thanks for sharing and keeping us in the loop on what you're doing, John, or Mr. Mayor. We appreciate that. Thomas, did you have any correspondence?
No.
Okay, which brings us to discussion and vote. First we have accounts payable claims. We have accounts payable claims in the amount of $1,643,493.89 in checks, and $173,245.44 in wire transfer payments, with a grand total of $1,816,739.33 for accounts payable claims. Can I get a motion to approve?
Jim isn't gonna make it, so I'll make a motion to approve the claims.
Second, Cheryl McVeigh.
Tom Broker.
Yes.
Shane McCampbell.
Yes, please. Okay. Next, we have payroll reimbursements. We have payroll reimbursements as of, for 4/4/25 reimbursement claims. The reimbursement is in $429.86. Can I get a motion to approve?
Motion to approve the payroll reimbursement claims.
Second, Cheryl Matt.
Tom Broker.
Yes.
Shane McCampbell.
Yes. Sorry, I haven't done a meeting for a while. I gotta wait till we both say yes before I do this stamp. Which brings us to our recognition, our 30 years of service recognition for Diana Schnaden. They gave me no paperwork to say anything about this, so just in the time I was sitting here, I thought about it. The 30 years of recognition, that's 15 years, 2 times. That's also 10 years, 3 times. That's also 6 years, 5 times. And then it's also 30 years, year after year after year, till you hit 30 years. And
Shane, don't drive her to retirement.
Don't tell him how old I am. So, she was 8 when she started, but listen, the bottom line is that takes commitment to do that year after year, because it takes a day to keep making up those years, and it is greatly appreciated, Diana. It truly is. I'll turn it over to Lisa.
So I have been in this office on and off since 2000, if you count my summer internship. Diana has been the mainstay. We lost our other victim witness coordinator to retirement, and apparently Shane's trying to drive Diana into it earlier this year, but Diana has been the mainstay. She was my victim witness coordinator for my first 11 and a half years at this office, and has been so for my last 6 years. And hopefully will continue for the next 2 until I retire, unless Shane continues to remind her how long she's been doing this job. But really seriously, Diana, you have been a mainstay. You know probably how to do every job in our office, probably ours included, the attorneys included, probably sometimes better than we do. But I also want to talk about the fact that what Diana does is extremely difficult. In our office, I think the only other person who could probably truly understand this would be Sheriff Glendenning. we see people at their worst. We get to do very fun things like this, not very often. And Diana is the one who works most closely with our victims and our witnesses. She answers the questions, she listens and hears the venting, listens to the fears and does her best to calm those nerves. And she does it with the utmost aplomb and a fabulous demeanor with everyone. Although I've heard her go off a few times, behind closed doors. But truly, she cares about the people she works with. And to do a job like that for 30 years is outstanding. The average prosecutor only lasts about 8, so just to remind you. So the fact
Thank
that
you, Lisa.
So the fact that she's been able to stay in this kind of position for 30 years and is still going strong is an amazing. So Diana, come on.
I really do appreciate it. Oh gosh, what do? Every day's different, you know. People ask you what you do at your job, and it's like, I don't know. I herd cats a lot. Try to keep my attorneys in line and make sure that everybody's where they're supposed to be.
Cats.
Yeah, these are my biggest cats. No, but I really do enjoy what I do. When I was little, I used to always tell my dad, "This isn't fair. This isn't fair. That isn't fair." And Dad always said, "You know, life's not fair." And unfortunately, to become a victim of a crime, that's really not fair. And we're never going to be able to make a victim whole again. But I think it's our job to try to overcome some of the hurdles the criminal justice system is foreign to everybody. And so if I could just make it a little bit easier for those victims of crime and their families.
Right on. Hey,
Thank you.
come in, Tom, get a picture with you, please. Can somebody, yeah.
We'll
Come
probably
on.
want a picture with me.
Joe photo, I think.
And Lisa.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah, absolutely.
Right.
I just mean we went in on it, come on.
Okay, Diana, are the 2 short ones?
Yeah, ladies in
Right
front.
on.
Short ladies in the front.
Don't move that chair out of the way.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Diana.
Thank you. Now I have to go do subpoenas. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Which brings us to, I guess I did have something in there. It says there, this past January, Diana Schnaden, our Victim Service Coordinator, reached 30 years of continued employment with the county as our Victim Service Coordinator. Lisa's been wanting to recognize her for this incredible accomplishment and support to our office. I apologize, I missed this, and community. But with the craziness of our court schedules, it's been difficult. We thought this was something the Board of Supervisors would also like to recognize at one of their meetings. It would also mean a lot to Diana. We purchased an award and recognition of her 30 years of service to the county attorney's office. Lisa wanted me to reach out and see if the Board of Supervisors would like to be involved in recognizing this milestone. And if so, we'd love to be able to do a presentation at the board meeting. We just saw that on April 1st. So anyways, it was definitely worth doing. Do I need to stamp this?
No.
Okay. Thomas? Now it brings us to resolution, or to 5D, which is a resolution for setting a date and time of the FY 2026 budget. Be it resolved, the Board of Supervisors hereby fixes the time and place for a public hearing on FY 26 budget estimate for Tuesday, April 22nd, 2025 at 9 a.m. in the boardroom at the Des Moines County Courthouse. The Des Moines County Budget Director is hereby directed to publish the notice and an estimated summary as required by law. Everybody knows about it, it's public. Approve this first day of April 2025, Des Moines County Board of Supervisors. Can I get a motion to approve?
Motion to approve the resolution.
Second. Cheryl Mack.
Tom Broker?
Yes.
Shane McCampbell?
Yes.
Your favorite thing.
next we have E, which is 2025 Child Abuse Prevention Month Proclamation. Whereas prevention is possible with the right policies and investments, families and children can thrive and avoid contact with child welfare and other costly systems. And whereas the early experience of a child impacts them throughout life, both positively and negatively. And whereas every family and child is filled with tremendous promise, we all have a collective responsibility to prevent adverse child experiences, foster the potential of every child, and promote positive childhood experiences. And whereas positive childhood experiences, or PCEs, such as loving caregivers and safe, stable, and nurturing relationships, play a vital role in helping children thrive by mitigating trauma and the negative impact of adverse childhood experiences. Whereas families who receive the support they need before a crisis occurs are better equipped to provide safe, healthy, and nurturing environments, leading to the children who are safer, healthier, and more hopeful about their futures. And whereas childhood trauma, including abuse and neglect, can have long-term psychological, emotional, and physical effects throughout an individual's lifetime and impact future generations. Whereas primary prevention of child abuse and neglect can reduce the lifetime economic burden associated with child maltreatment. And whereas strengthening families through the access to concrete economic, social, and community-based supports reduces the likelihood of abuse and neglect and ensures children have the foundation for lifelong well-being. Whereas effective child abuse prevention activities succeed because of the partnerships created within child welfare professionals, education, health, community, and faith-based organizations, businesses, law enforcement agencies, and families. And whereas communities must make every effort to promote programs and activities that create strong and thriving children and families. And whereas we acknowledge that we must work together as a community to increase awareness about child abuse and to contribute to promoting the social and emotional well-being of children and families in safe, stable, and nurturing environment. And whereas investments and prevention initiatives such as home visiting programs, family strengthening policies, economic supports, and community-based child abuse prevention efforts are essential to building safer, healthier communities for children and families. And whereas prevention remains the best defense for our children and families. Now therefore, the Des Moines County Supervisors do hereby proclaim April 2025 as Child Abuse Prevention Month in Des Moines County and urge all citizens to recognize this month by dedicating ourselves to the task of improving the quality of life for all children and families. Together, we can create a state where every child can grow up happy, healthy, and safe with hope for their future. Dated this first day, April 2025. Well said. Let me stamp these, but have you come up if you have something you'd like to say. Approved or received?
I've got it down as a vote, don't you have to sign it?
Motion to approve. Okay. Second, Cheryl Mack.
Tom Broker?
Yes.
Shane McCampbell?
Yes. Now, would you please come up and give us your name and share with us? This isn't with the first time you've been here, so we want to hear from you again.
Yes, so I'm Erin Jones, and I coordinate a 4-county program. It's all across the state, but I have 4 counties, and a community-based child abuse prevention. And I am with, here today, I'm here with the Des Moines County Child Abuse Prevention Council. It's called Des Moines County Cares. And anyone and everyone is always welcome to that meeting. We meet on the second Monday of the month at 1 o'clock at the Burlington Public Library.
What is it? Can you give me that again?
Yes, the name of the meeting?
Well, yeah, the name of the meeting and what time the meeting is.
Des Moines County Cares. And it is the second Monday of each month at 1 o'clock. And we are at the Burlington Public Library.
Okay, do you have the same room every time, or?
Yeah, one of those front 2 rooms. We're always on the
Okay,
first room.
okay.
But the interagency meeting for the county, we are kind of a joint meeting. We do the interagency part followed by our part. So they start at noon, so you're always welcome to that too if you want to hear about lots of great resources, really well attended, all the great resources and services and things that people are trying to do in the county. So we can work together and just share information. So that's what that meeting's about. April being Child Abuse Prevention Month, I just had a few materials I will leave for you. We have our quad county calendar, so we're the 4 counties. Henry, Lee, Louisa, Des Moines, and those things are shared by all of us, some activities. The first being, and this is a nationwide date, this Friday is Wear Blue Day, so if any of you want your office or just you to wear blue, in recognition of that, you can start some conversation, share it out on your social media, that's fantastic. But kind of some bigger things, we do have a Stewards of Children training, which is an online, we can do it for you in groups, in person, but it is an online child sexual abuse prevention training. And it's 2.5 hours, there's a $16 fee, but we will reimburse once you have it done. You just email us the completion certificate, and that's open to anybody in the community. This training it's for adults, and it's appropriate for all of us to get the information, but also form a plan on how we're going to protect the children in our lives, whether that's our own children we have at our home right now, clear to just in our community and neighbors. We don't even work or see children hardly at all. It can be anybody in the community has that responsibility, and there's things that they can do to prevent child sexual abuse. So that's training. We know it's hard to, we've been doing this for a long time, it's evidence-based, but it's hard to get those audiences. So this way you can do it on your own time and your own schedule, and sometimes it's a sensitive subject for people. So this way they can do it, in a group and take your time. You can stop and start that education. The next thing we have is next Friday on the 11th, we've partnered with Capitol Theater, and we are doing a viewing. It's 2 o'clock. The Raising of America, Early Childhood and the Future of Our Nation. It's a documentary series. We're not doing the whole series, but we should be there about an hour and a half. Free popcorn. Anybody who wants to attend, it's free viewing. Anybody you think could use some more information on that? I believe I have several of those flyers I'll leave for you. And the last thing in Des Moines County for Child Abuse Prevention Month that we're focusing on is April 30th. We have our spring, because we do these quarterly now, community baby shower that's open to anybody in the community that is expecting or has a newborn under 4 months old. And we have great speakers on different topics. They're 5 minutes. There's games. We help them celebrate, because some people expecting don't have people that are excited for them. They don't get to celebrate that. So it's a baby shower like you would expect a normal baby shower. So there's those pieces, but it's education. Afterwards, they get to talk to those presenters and ask questions. These are topics that our councils have thought were really important pieces of information. Some HHS has been passing down some topics down to us that we cover. They get a diaper bag. They get to fill it with donations from lots of different community agencies that they give us and stuff. And so they get to leave with some goodies, some needed items. We feed them, so it's in an evening. They get to bring a support person, which is really important because they were kind of educating too. For sometimes it's a co-parent, sometimes it's their own mother, or we've had siblings, we've had best friends. So all of that is really great information. We do that in partnership with Southeast Iowa Regional Medical Center, and so we get to host it there. They provide some staff and space, and then they promote it through their services for those families, for expecting families. And then just as a note of that is, I had an email from one of our presenters, talks about breastfeeding, and she's a lactation consultant at the hospital, and she sent me a really wonderful email last month about how she's been seeing some of the participants from past showers been delivering. She's just been with us the last 2 showers, so 6 months or so. And they are really excited to see a familiar face, and she was just passing on how much they felt like they got out of it, how important she thought this information was to families. So, and it's open to anybody in the community. There's no, income parameters or anything like that. So, and then we follow up with information the next 3 months after that, so they get more information each time. It's just a great thing. So, I will just leave this stuff for you guys to look at.
Yeah, just bring it up.
Yeah.
And Aaron, thank you for the job that you do. It's important to Des Moines County. We need you doing, what I say, standing on the wall. But no, seriously, I wish we didn't need you doing that.
Aaron, are you?
Me too, but if we did more, we could do less of other.
There you go.
You want
one of the copies of the proclamations?
If you have one ready, I can take one, yes.
No, does you understand or?
Thank you. And really, we appreciate you guys taking the time to put us on your agenda and work with us for this.
Again.
First name.
It's A-R-I-N.
I-N?
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, if I'm still alive, I'll see you next year, bud.
Well, with funding, I'm not sure I'll be around next year.
Well, I hope so.
We
You do
shall
a
see.
fantastic job.
Thank you.
Next brings us to, F. Which is a resolution to set the date for a public hearing on proposal to enter into a general obligation county purpose loan agreement and to borrow money thereunder. Everybody's welcome to come. It says, whereas the Board of Supervisors of Des Moines County, Iowa, the county proposes to enter into a general obligation county purpose loan agreement, the loan agreement, and to borrow money thereunder in a principal amount not to exceed $3,828,000 pursuant to the provisions of sections 33.1402, 33.1441, and 33.1443 of the Code of Iowa, for the purpose of paying the cost to that extent of an undertaking parking improvements at the Sheriff's Department facilities, $250,000. B, undertaking general physical plant repairs and improvements at the county buildings, $225,000. C, provision of information technology equipment for county buildings, $515,000. And I want to say that Colin is, he's not trying to get all the best stuff in it that he can get his hands on, but he does want to take care of us, and I appreciate that, Colin. D, acquiring elections equipment, $61,000. And E, acquiring insurance for county operations, $2,777,000. Collectively, the projects, it is acquiring insurance for, collectively, the projects, and it is now necessary to fix a date of meeting of this board at which it is proposed to take action on the proposal to enter into the loan agreement and to give notice thereof as required by such law. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Supervisors of Des Moines County, Iowa, as follows. Section 1, the board shall meet on April 15, 2025 at the Burlington, Iowa, at the courthouse, Burlington, Iowa, at, I'm not sure, blank AM.
Put a 9 in there.
Right on. At which time and place a hearing will be held, and proceedings will be instituted and action taken to enter into the loan agreement. And then section 2, the county auditor is hereby directed to give notice of the proposed action of the loan agreement, setting forth the amount and purpose thereof, the time when the place where and said the meeting will be held, by publication at least once, not less than 4 and not more than 20 days before the date of said meeting. So it'll be in the newspaper. It says in a legal newspaper which has general circulation in the county, the notice shall be substantially the following form. So can I get a motion to approve the date for public hearing on the proposed to enter into general obligation county purpose loan agreement?
Motion to approve the resolution.
Second. Cheryl Mack.
Tom Broker?
Yes.
Shane McCampbell?
Yes. So do you want me to sign this? You guys can wait for Jimmy on that, right?
Well, he can't sign it now, he's not here, so.
So, yeah, all right, go ahead and sign that.
Yep.
Cheryl Mack, do you want me to, wait? Do I want to sign that one too?
Yes, please.
All right. Next, brings us to 5H, which is regarding the liquor license renewal for Fat Annie's. I'm not calling her that, that's what she calls herself. Sheriff.
You did it once.
Yeah, I know. Don't start, Thomas. Don't do it. Sheriff, you got any problems with that?
No concerns down in Augusta.
All right.
Motion to approve.
Second that. Cheryl Mack.
Tom Broker,
Yes.
Shane McCampbell.
Yes. You won't forget that, you won't let me live it down. Okay, next we have two personnel actions for conservation. I want to apologize to Chris because I did see him momentarily standing by the door and I forgot to, so my apologies, Chris. I won't get you like that again because I won't be doing this again. Jim, you'll be back next week. First one is for Brandon Rowland. He's a conservation tech. It's his anniversary. It's a 24-month step increase effective March 25th. You don't mind if I do both these together? It's due March 25th. His previous rate was $45,864, and his new rate is $47,968.56. And then the second one is for Shania Hansen. She's a naturalist. She's a new hire, effective April 7th, 2025, for the Department of Conservation. Her new rate of pay is $41,583.36. Can I get a motion to approve both?
Motion to approve.
Cheryl Mack.
You gonna second that?
Oh, yeah, sure. Otherwise I'd probably be holding it up, right? I'll second it.
Tom Broker,
Yes.
Shane McCampbell.
Yes, please. Okay, yeah. Thanks, Thomas. Okay. Brings us to 5I, reports. We have reports from the Veterans Affairs as of March 2025. Can I get a motion to, that we receive, or, yeah, we receive these. So anybody that wants to read these for the Veterans Affairs, they will be available in the auditor's office. You can view these at your leisure or discretion. I haven't been sitting in this middle seat for a while, so I'm a little bit rusty. Give me a break today. Or not. Next, we have minutes for the regular meeting on March 25th, 2025. Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
I abstain. Cheryl Mack.
You can vote on minutes if you want at the meeting.
Okay, aye.
Tom Broker?
Abstain after this?
Yes.
Shane McCampbell.
Give me a vote, yeah, abstain or aye? What do
Just
I-
vote aye.
Aye, aye. Aye, Cap. Okay. Thomas, other business?
I have none.
Future agenda items?
I have none.
Brings us to 8, committee reports.
I attended a meeting of the Mental Health Agency of Southeast Iowa, Mahasi Governing Board, and we approved the Mahasi closeout plans since that agency comes to an end on June 30th.
Thank you for your hard work with that. I know that's been stressful, but appreciate that, Tom. I attended, actually it wasn't last week, it was the week before, but I missed the meeting. I was ill last week. But we had the Des Moines County Regional Waste Commission meeting, and they're starting the process on the 2 cells. They're gonna start those, just gonna remove leachates, and they're expecting to be done, what they said, was that July or August? Is that what they're expecting to be done? Thank you for that. That was pretty much it. And then also I had community action, and they moved me to the treasurer. And so I want to thank Sarah, the finance manager, for helping me walk through that process. It's been a learning experience, so that's all I.
Congratulations.
Thanks, Thomas. Anyways, now brings us to the time of public input. We'd love to hear from you. If you have something you'd like to say to the board, and you're not in the meeting today, you can email us at board@dmcounty.com. That's BOARD@dmcounty.com. Or you can call in right now at 319-753-8203, extension 4. That number is 319-753-8203, extension 4. We'd love to hear from you. We're going to give you 2 minutes to initiate that. We don't have Jim here to put the alarm on, but I'll watch the clock. Is anybody here that's in the audience that has anything to say? I would like to say thanks again to Chad, to John and Brittany from the city of Burlington for attending today, coming down and being supportive, even with words. You were supportive today in word and deed. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. Chad Bird, City Manager, City of Burlington, 2716 Clearview Drive. I wanted to bring a packet and just bring to your attention or a reminder that the city is holding a consultation hearing on a TIF development agreement. And I believe I sent information to the auditor and each of you on that. That's Thursday, April 3rd at 1 p.m. And again, I did bring that packet of information for you just as a reminder. So,
thank you.
In this project, this TIF development agreement specifically applies to the Apollo School. That developer is ready to move forward. He already has preliminary plans into the city for review. And this TIF development agreement with him is the last piece of the puzzle. So we should see construction starting on that building very, very soon. So that's the nature of the consultation meeting. So we'd love to see you there if you have any comments or questions about the project. So I would also like to take this moment to introduce our library director, Brittany Jacobs.
Thanks, Chad. Hi, everyone. I've been the director at the Burlington Public Library for about 2.5 years. The Burlington Public Library, excuse me, if you didn't know, was the
Don't say that I got you sick. I'm not going to eat that one.
We were the first free public library west of the Mississippi. We have an incredibly rich history in this library. And while we are a city and municipal library, we do sign 2080 contracts so that we serve most of Des Moines County. We sign a contract with you that we split with the Mediapolis Public Library just up the road. We're the only 2 accredited libraries in the county. And our board, which is its own governing board, voted on and appointed by Mr. Mayor over here. They meet on the 3rd Wednesday of every month at 4:30 at the library. And we do send out our agenda and notice of meeting to all of our 2080 contracting entities, so you should be receiving those every month. You're more than welcome to join us in our meetings. And we do a lot of work outside of the 2080 contracts. We partner with a lot of our county-based entities. We work with conservation, county conservation. I work with the sheriff's office. I'm meeting with the county attorney tomorrow. And as you mentioned in the public hearing a little earlier, we're all on the same team. And so I thought that I'd come here, introduce myself to you, and maybe make a plan to come after I present the annual reports to our Burlington City Council. We can get the library on the agenda for you in August, September, and you can be kept up to speed on everything that this library is doing. Because even though we did enter into our Ordinance 21, which dictates us as a free public, tax-based public library on May 18th, 1885, library services has changed quite a bit in the last 140 years. But the Burlington Public Library is still running with the big dogs. If you compare us to cities of a comparable size, we far outpace everyone in the state. We operate like a large library, and I think it's because this organization is so supported and beloved by our community. So I look forward to seeing you a lot more regularly. Shane, I see you in the library often. We appreciate you using, the best way to support the library is to use the library, but I will be coming back a little bit more regularly to keep you up to date on everything going on in
That sounds great.
organization.
That sounds great. Thank you for coming down. Next time you come,
Thank you.
leave John at home. Did I say that? Is that public? Oops. Sorry about that. Wow. Sometimes I get Tourette's. I just can't stop myself.
Tough crowd.
So, Cheryl Mack, did you receive anything? Yeah, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, well, I've been in these chambers a few times, here lately in the last couple of years, especially with assessors meetings and something, and there's something I need to get off my chest. I feel burdened by it and I have to get it out. So I appreciate you indulging me to address this at this point in time. And that issue is, the picture behind you has been crooked for a year. I'm tired of looking.
Rodney, note that. Note to Rodney.
While you're there, none of us can see it. Which way we gotta go?
Thank you, Thomas. He's a man of
Walk down
action.
on your end, Tom, just like.
Don't let anybody say that Tom
Right
Broka's
there.
not a man of action.
Right there, perfect.
Jeez. While we're telling sign stories.
Okay, go ahead. I opened it up, so it's fine.
I was
Get it out,
approached,
Thomas. Get it
I
out.
was approached
several years ago by a guy. He said, "Where can I get see the Des Moines County flag?" I said, "Des Moines County has a flag." He said, "Yeah." I said, "I've heard, you know." I said, "I have never seen it." So anyway, so I talked to him a little bit, started doing some exploring, and I forget who called me. He said, "You've never seen the flag?" I said, "No." He said, "Look at the back of the room." He said, "That's the only one in existence." He said, "The supervisor at one time drove to Des Moines, they'd make one for every county, and mounted that and put it there. And I had sat at this table for 2 or 3 years anyway, and had apparently never noticed it. So we aren't noticers. So I'm glad you brought that to our attention."
Oh, thank you, John. Thank you, Thomas. Thomas, you got anything else in closing?
Aye, we're adjourned. How's that? I'll beat you to the punch.
This meeting's adjourned. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, gentlemen. Appreciate it.